to this field, it's discovery, it's Marco Polo. And so I just want to put that out there and say we're now, having started Youth Outlook in 1985, now I have 2 elders in my house, not just me. And I want to start not yo, but so, Senior Outlook. Make this, anyway. So just that. Just a quick comment on that, that the ethnic media response to your question is, of course, its great strength is local and global, or what Harlan Cleveland used to call glocal, and which I think is a continuum of news coverage that is very refreshing for American journalism. I love ethnic media because it's not red state versus blue state, it's issue driven, but it also has this continuum of neighborhood and home country that doesn't know boundaries, and that's a real plus for it. Secondly, I wonder, adding on to Lauren's comment, that we're looking, I was in Massachusetts a couple of weeks ago, Boston, and a guy who started a website at Harvard called globalvoices.com said to me, but we're not journalism, we're citizen media. We call ourselves citizen media, we're not journalism. He dismissed us. It was a dismissive remark. And I said, I've been chewing on it, because this has to be, and I go back to, I'm glad you raised the point, inclusive journalism. Jeff Cowan used that term, building inclusive journalism. If you think of ethnic, mainstream, youth media, why do we have these in silos? Why aren't they just all about inclusive journalism in a global society? But it is not just the I, it is the we. And this is where, to answer your question, the collective perspective and the institutional memory that ethnic media bring is what, of course, we have to understand about the world that goes beyond the individuated culture of America to the communal cultures that we are now fortunate enough to have, in our global society. But we need to know about the collective, and it is the blog, but it is more than the blog. And without journalism providing their reflection, you see, they don't get to feel they belong. So it's much more than just what we covered them, our job covering them. It's their sense of belonging we as journalists provide.
I'm Lou Day from Louisiana State University, and I want to follow up on Arlene's suggestion about including diversity and tenure. I'm chair of the Promotion and Tenure Committee at our school. And it seems to me that if you're going to require that as a tenure consideration, that you must begin with the PhD training that students have before getting into the academic world, because it's unfair, I think, to have them come in and all of a sudden be told that they must include diversity in order to get tenure, when they've never had any formal academic training in the teaching of diversity. Personally, I think that diversity is like anything else. You wouldn't assign somebody to teach media law or ethics without some kind of training. And I think diversity is the same thing. So my recommendation would be that we back up a step and begin forcing PhD programs, if I can use that word.
We'll come in and train.
Well, incorporating that training into the PhD academic training, so that when they come into the academic world, they will be ready to begin teaching diversity.
A white guy ally.
Good morning to Leone at Northwestern. This is a great panel, and Dory made a point about coming from New York. I was born in New York to the West Coast, and this thing about black-white versus a larger definition of diversity. I wonder whether we're U.S.-centric in how we think about all of this, too. And, I'm trying to diminish my ignorance by going to other parts of the world, and it certainly is causing me to rethink my notions of diversity and inclusiveness to discussions about religion and the whole variety of other things that haven't been talked about here. So I just raise that we tried to introduce something, we have introduced something here at Northwestern called a global and diverse cultures requirement. It's not, it's 11 courses that you can choose from a list of 300 offered around the university. But the idea is pushing people out to think about other possibilities, and that may not be available within the journalism school. So the university can help us solve some of this perhaps.
To me, it's a matter of truth. If our friends in the newsroom cover only 2/3 of the community, that is at best a partial truth. If we in the academic world teach only about half of what has been going on in journalism, that is a partial truth. We're seeking truth in journalism, we're seeking truth in education.